G'day Hawks fans, big week. Welcome to Talking Hawks, where we enjoy connecting with Hawks fans around the world, having a few laughs, enjoying some good footy conversations and some smarts along the way. Chris, Rhys, how are you both going?
Yeah, great, mate.
Yeah, going well.
After a win.
Yeah, that's it. Couple of weeks off and not much is happening at the Hawks, which is good. I've come back at a real relaxing time, which is a relief. So looking forward to getting stuck into it.
Excellent. Well, fans, thanks for joining us. On tonight's show, we've got a look at the Hawks-Lions game. We've got our next player interview with a Hawk player to be announced. We'll look at Box Hill, some of the latest news from around the club, the upcoming game, and plenty to get stuck into. So, fans, if you're on, jump on to subscribe at YouTube. Get behind us there. Tag a mate tonight. Tell them to get in. Share this, and give us a thumbs up. Let us know where you're coming in from tonight. And boys, so let's kick it off. Interested to know from the fans what's top of mind, but obviously the elephant in the room, the coaching. Where do we start?
Oh, we can just touch on it. I think for me, it's been put to bed already. I just think, we jumped the gun a bit with Sam being approached by Collingwood, and we just showed our hand too early. I think these conversations were already in place, and Sam was the long-term coaching prospect already. So it just got fast forwarded a little bit, and it's just a bit sour now that it's had to go this way, and Clarko's should have gone out in a better way. But
it's an interesting one when you've got a petition going out for booting the club president. Your club's in for a bit of a ride. So it's an interesting question, Chris. Was it premature?
But let's talk about the petition there. It was unanimously voted by the board, not just Jeff. He doesn't do it by himself. There's 10 people on the board, I think. So everybody voted for it. And anyway, not everybody's going to agree with it.
Yeah, there's lots of power brokers at a club, and a board is a representation to govern, and how that's done. They do change over board members over time, and they bring different skills to the table, and they bring different experiences and their advice, and that's all something that's valued. So, there's been criticisms aimed at the board, aimed at Jeff. There was missiles pointed at Caro. Perhaps redirected a little. It takes two to tango. I'm not saying Clarko is, a perfect white knight here, nor Sam nor Jeff. But there's an objective, and there's a club that's got a big vision and a big goal. So it is a bit heavier than we would normally go, but I think the fans, it is top of mind. So Rhys, any thoughts? Big questions?
Yeah, massive questions, and a bit above my pay grade. And I understand those fans that say that this has left a sour taste in their mouth. I go back to what Mick Malthouse said once: every coach in the AFL have got two things in common. They all get hired and they all get fired. Everything else is just a journey, and I think that it shouldn't be lost, the journey that Clarko's taken us on, and we've got a lifetime to appreciate that, and hopefully we've got a long time to appreciate what Sam's going to do. He's got Box Hill humming at the moment, and until we see otherwise, there's no reason to suggest that he's going to be anything short of wonderful like he has been as an assistant coach, a Box Hill coach, and as he was as a player. So as annoyed as I can understand some fans are, I think at some stage, and I'm hoping it's sooner rather than later, we can look forward and, of course, always keep Clarko's sort of legacy in mind. And the quicker the dust settles, the better for fans and I think the players as well.
Yep.
I think everybody's going to understand it. It's not an easy decision to make. Nobody wants to sack someone, especially someone who's done what he has for the club. Clarko's been amazing, but at the end of the day, it's got to come to an end at some stage. And it's just the way it's played out. It wasn't the ideal way.
Yeah, and I don't think it's one you can quickly rip the Band-Aid off. And if your club's re-gearing and coming out of, I was using the term before Clarko actually used it, coming out of the shadow of a great and a coach that's held in such high esteem. They're like an ambassador for the game, which is Clarko's current position. He's been advocating things at an AFL level. He would mention one word, and all of the umps would start gearing away or toward what he was saying. So he's got a lot of sway, and so for any club to then navigate beyond a coach with such gravitas, it's a really significant thing for a club to go through, and the club is bigger, but it just takes time. So there's a lot of emotion in all of this, and I was involved in a Twitter chat with Hawks Insiders and Hawk Talk podcast, and it was interesting. The fans were fairly, some emotion, some extreme emotion. Wasn't a lot of mudslinging, which is good, but I know there are some calling for heads and accountability and justification, and hindsight's a beautiful thing. And I think the club and the board and the footy director and this big decision was, you were damned if you did, and you're damned if you didn't. Whatever way they went, and I don't think any club in recent times, when it comes to changing over a long-standing coach that's been very successful, has got the template. He's the go-to. Here's what's going to make it smooth. You've got passionate, intense people from a board all the way down to a supporter. How do you get everybody on the same page? I just think it's impossible. You can't please everyone. So,
as far as timing goes, do you really want Clarko to start using his game plan with his players, his drafting, and then Mitchell take over and then changing the whole system? I think it's better that he starts fresh from the bottom, putting in the players and the system he thinks is going to work. So I think as bad as it is, I think it is sort of good timing in a way.
It's so multifaceted. I don't think you can put it down to, really a simple, it's just this and let's do that and that's clean. There's pros and cons in so many different ways that you could take it. So they're strong, passionate individuals, Clarko and Mitchell, and for everyone to see eye to eye and go smoothly, I just think that's mission impossible. But
so, question, unprompted, but I assume you guys are on the same page as me. You want to see Clarko coach again somewhere else, or would you sort of prefer him just to steer clear of coaching and enjoy life in his career in other ways?
Great question. Let's go to the fans on that one too. So, g'day everyone. Thanks for commenting so far. Give us your thoughts. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Thanks for being with us. Rhys, kick us off there.
Just before I answer the question, because it might get a bit passionate about where Clarko should end up next, but my biggest hope now that the dust has settled and we've had a win and it was fantastic, and we are going to talk about the footy to all the footy fans. We will get stuck into Brisbane shortly, but I hope that we can get crowds to the round 23 game against Richmond. If anyone at the Hawthorn Footy Club of the last 30 years deserves a farewell game in front of fans, it's Clarko. Mm-hmm. So fingers crossed that happens, and if we could end Richmond's season as well, that'd be handy. But that's just a little drive-by to my Richmond mates.
Love the plug. It could be Clarko's 390th game being coach for the Hawthorn Football Club, and Sean Burgoyne's 250th representing the brown and gold. So that would be incredible. And geez, if there are to the AFL gods, please let there be fans en masse allowed in that door. There's no jabs required, so come one and all. We bring your mask.
Absolutely. And my other fingers crossed is for Sam Mitchell to win round one next year, so all the media commentary can die off and Hawthorn can somewhat go back to normal. But if Clarko is going to coach again, I hope he takes the year off this year. I think going to Carlton or Collingwood would be a big mistake for him, and I hope GWS ring him up and say, we need you. Leon Cameron's taken GWS to a grand final, and good on him. But since then, GWS have gone backwards for a number of reasons. And if I think GWS are obviously closer to a flag than Gold Coast are, so if an expansion club's going to win a flag, why not get the best coach in there? And that's no disrespect to Leon Cameron either.
Yeah, the Gold Coast room is pretty big, isn't it? If that was the case too. And I don't know whether it's best for him to coach or just to be overseeing Stewie Dew, but I think the AFL should get involved and throw some money his way to try and, fix the problem at Gold Coast, make them a bit of a power up there.
The Gold Coast situation, but the Gold Coast situation to me reminds me of Dennis Pagan to Carlton. Wildly different reasons. Gold Coast aren't cheating the salary cap, like Carlton were when Pago got there. But and I'm not sure if Gold Coast would be the place to be. Although retaining their youngsters might help if you got the greatest coach in the modern era. But there's just something about GWS that really appeals to me. So fingers crossed the fans have got some opinions on it, and I think we can all agree anywhere but Collingwood, maybe. Just something we can agree on.
For sure. Look, I don't think with Graham Wright and Clarko that's probably likely, given what has been reported. But that's I don't know. I'm not part of the club. That's just my impression. But question without notice, my answer. I think he would do well with a rest. Hearing Ruffy talk about that, it just makes sense. And I mentioned to Jeff on this show when we had Kennett on that I thought Clarko looked a little bit tired, and he talked about his passion and all of that, and having the farm and an outlet. And Clarko touched on that. There's I think he said 6 Fs in his life, and football being one that just dominates. So when he gets some time away from that, in his head out of probably 20 hours a day thinking about football, those other things are really important to him. So I think he would do well just to rejuvenate. Whatever he does, I don't think it's likely that he'll coach in the next little bit. But if he comes back, my outsider would be maybe Richmond might court Alistair Clarkson, because okay, you're hearing it first here. I think Hardwick might welcome an opportunity to get out, and here comes a very credible coach to take on probably a list. And I think they're all right with youth. I think that's a nice Melbourne-based role that Clarko would consider a conversation about. So, but not next year, probably the year after. So, anyway, there's my Ruffy outsider.
I do wonder if his heart might be. I wonder if his heart could still be with Melbourne or North Melbourne, the clubs he played for. So, again, you probably need a year off before a door opens there. But Glenn Nelson's come up with a new idea.
Totally.
Slightly premature. I don't think the AFL's ready to go there yet, but that would be a brilliant idea. I'd love to see that happen.
I think I might have touched on. I can't remember if I did it on the show or just with you boys, but yeah, no, Glenn, I had the similar thought. I think the AFL would throw a bag of cash at Clarko to head that up.
Do we think he'd be good in the media? Ross Lyon and Paul Roos in the past have been really good coaches that have gone into the media, and I think are really good to listen to. Do we think Clarko would be suited to a radio or a TV role? I'm not sure if I see Clarko as much as a writer.
I think he'd be brilliant. I just don't know if he's can stay still long enough to do that. I think he needs to keep a bit busier. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what path he takes.
I wouldn't mind it. All right, enough on the coaching. We can't solve all of the world or Hawthorn's problems. And for those of us that Hawthorn is our world, sorry, but we're going to move on. So we have a cracking performance, and we should just check in with the fans. Chris, check it out. What have the fans got to say that's about the very surprising Hawthorn pumping of Brisbane for the first 3 quarters, and then just nicely, I did enough to get over the line by a couple of goals.
Well, I guess word on everyone's tongue at the moment, Connor Nash. Big,
is he Sam's boy?
It seems that way. And Derm was a bit of a fan, wasn't he? Derm was
couldn't shut him up.
Giving him a bit of praise, and Sammy a bit of praise for that move, putting him in the midfield. And we'd seen it at Box Hill before he came into AFL, and he finally got his opportunity. And he played well. I'll give him some credit, but look, we need it to do it week in, week out. So I'm not getting too excited just yet.
Yeah, has he been played out of position? Go on.
Oh, well, that was exactly what I was going to say. I'm not in any way saying that these two players are the same, but for the first half of the year, we were saying, or as footy fans, not as Hawthorn fans, because we don't give a damn about Essendon, but they went through the same thing with Darcy Parish. They brought him in as a midfielder. They were playing him on a half-forward flank. He was suddenly not that good, and all the Essendon fans were going, he's no good. And it's fair to say Connor Nash has been a bit maligned with Hawthorn fans over the journey. We find a role for them. We play them in that role, and they perform. Seriously, sometimes this game's not that complicated, and he was outstanding. So, for all the criticism that he may have copped, for all the criticism that he's copped, fingers crossed our fans have the emotional intelligence to give him the praise that he deserves, because he was outstanding. And if there's one bloke in the AFL I don't want to be tackled by, it might be him. I don't think Mitch Robinson's recovered yet, who's also a tough bugger.
Yeah, didn't see that one. But yeah, look, with the reach, with the length, was it Dermy? Did he say he's 197? Nash?
197 is correct. Yep.
I think he was trying to burn it in all of Australian AFL fans watching that show. 197. Yeah, just the potential there. And I think his strength in his body was on display, that he's probably built over the journey, and we've tried him in many positions. So yeah, let's see what Nash can do. I hope he gets to keep having a crack in the midfield for the rest of the year and give Sam a good look at what he can do at the AFL level.
Yeah, he did well. I think he's still got to learn to get into the right position a bit more often. But yeah, great game.
And I know that I'm the draft guy, but maybe having him there for that last month does affect how we go in the draft, because you could argue that either our first pick or our second pick would need to be on a big-bodied midfielder. But if Nash can be that, it would give us flexibility to draft in other areas, I think. So fingers crossed he's there for the last 3 weeks and we can assess and go from there.
Yep. Well, before the show, we asked Rhys not to talk in the third person because he is the draft guy. But so it was a great performance. 23 disposals, 9 tackles, 7 clearances, 5 score involvements, a dozen contested possessions, and that was Rhys's handiwork that I'm stealing right there. So Rhys, well done. 365 metres gained.
It's probably one of the first games where the whole midfield has really worked well together. So having that dynamic with him in there, it's sort of sacrificing a good ball user and letting the other guys have a better use of the ball by protecting their space and giving them, tackling and just, I really like the aspect that it could bring.
Yep. Yeah. Was Bramble fantastic? Michael's saying. Maybe a tad over for me, but he's still solid.
Just solid, very solid. He's not fading off like kids seem to do these days. They come on the scene and then fade off. He's being pretty consistent. So, and we just love seeing him kick out week in, week out.
That's a nice thing, isn't
being
it?
Being 23 with senior experience as well helps as well. So, But every time he gets the ball, things happen. And in Michael's defence, not that we're saying he's wrong, but if Lockie converts those 2 points into 2 goals, we're probably sitting here saying he was in the best handful. Sometimes it can really be that tight, but. Totally. We've said it all year, boys, and we've probably said it for 3 years now that the midfield needs help. Tommy Mitchell needed help, and he got it. Jaeger had 35, Chad had 32 and kicked 2-2, and it was unbelievable how much not only help that Titch got, but the fact that we looked a bit unpredictable at centre bounces. And when we were up against, for the majority of the game, Jared Lyons, Jared Berry and Lockie Neal, I think we deserve a heap of credit there for the midfield group, who at the end of the day, between that and going out and bashing Brisbane in a way that I haven't seen a Hawthorn team do probably since the 2014 grand final against Sydney, when we went out and bashed them when everyone thought we were the softer side. So I think we're full of praise tonight, and rightly so. It was fantastic.
And Absolutely. Part of that midfield dominance was the big fella, Ned Rhys. He really helped, and Oscar McInerney's no slouch. He's pretty handy in the ruck. So, and it also gave Big Boy a chop out to play less minutes in the ruck position, which I think helps his game as well.
31 hit-outs, very handy from the big fella. And look, a sign of things to come. When he's doing it at the AFL level, he was showing great form at a VFL level, but now he's against the bigger, stronger bodies and continuing. I don't see why he should. I'm hard pressed to hear why he should be outed.
Ned does 2 things as a ruckman I love. He tackles and he doesn't kick the footy. I'm all in on that. The big dopey ruckman, especially the light frame, which he is. How scary is he going to be when he actually puts on some muscle in the off season? So whenever you get it, Reva, more than happy for you to dish it off, mate, and just let the midfielders do what they do. Is 3 kicks, 8 handballs, perfect ratio for mine.
Before we get on to Brewsty, I'm glad you mentioned Chad, Rhys, because I think Wingard after last week getting a bit of criticism for chewing out Cozzy. 32 disposals, just solid. 7 tackles, 6 inside 50s, 2-2, and 503 metres gained. So, look, I wonder how motivated the group of players, senior players, that might have said a few words about the situation. We've seen them stand up. I don't know who was in that group fully. There was a couple of names thrown around, but I'm glad to see the character of the mature, the senior players stand up in a game against a formidable opponent, to use a Clarkoism. So, yeah. Brucey.
Yes, we were all a bit scared there for a while. But yeah, came out with a message for the fans, a little video just to say the scans came up clear and it's just looks like a bit of bruising. So looking at potentially 2 to 3 weeks, and yeah, so we may see him this year. I'd rather just put him in cotton wool for next year, but yeah, very good news on that front.
I think we've gone hardcore on the new sponsor that is the cotton wool manufacturer, the biggest global cotton wool manufacturer in the world. I think that's to be announced. But yeah, I'm all for putting Bruce in cotton wool.
Do we just round out the injury report while I'm here?
It's short and sharp. Go on.
Just Cousins with his hammy. Two more weeks, so we may see him for the last round of the season. And the rest of the boys are done for the season. Will Day, Jack Gunston, CJ, Impey, and Sicily. So,
yep,
short and sharp.
Good stuff.
So
look at this legend.
Can we send the football media that injury list and just remind them that's who we had out? Because according to a certain Port Adelaide quote unquote champion, we don't have any youth, we don't have any quality at all, and we're a basket case. So not that I think Big Kano would be listening, but if we could send that through to him, that would be fantastic.
and look, let's be honest, fans. If were you backing the Hawks in for a win? Just drop it in the comments. Let us know. But while you're doing that, as in the game against the Lions, look at this legend. He's back. Hello,
bang,
mate. Thanks for joining us again. Get onto Changa for us, will you? We want Chance on this show. We'd love to get him on before the end of the season, just to be able to give us a little bit of insight with playing along Burgoyne and the Indigenous role that he played to really pioneer some things at the Hawthorn Football Club when we were a club that maybe wasn't so open to things. So, mate, but you're a champion. Thanks for joining us again. Awesome. So, parting thoughts on that game. Denver, just quickly, because he's our boy. Oh, geez. Keep going, son. Keep going hard. Don't get hurt.
We're just getting games into him. Yeah, he's going to get better and better. So we just love what he brings on the field. Just roughing blokes up. It's great.
I don't think I've seen a first-year player with so much courage, just getting, having a crack.
And I love the opposition. He roughs up the opposition and they actually smile. They love it.
Yeah, anyone that has got the balls to put Joey Danaher on his backside for giving him a bit of lip, we're all here for. So yeah. I think even like that little bit of unsociability as well, who was a kingpin of it himself.
I think even Danaher cracked a little wry smile, like little smirk, and it's just like he's just earned respect. I think, certainly ours. So it's good. It's good to see. There we go. Yes, Brett. Yes. So, all right, fans. Well, it was a cracking game. It shows some character. It gives us some optimism. We've got 3 games on the trot at UTAS, it looks like. So we'll get to Collingwood, but let's jump into quick touching on Box Hill. Chris, you got that, haven't you?
Yep. So we played Collingwood on the weekend. We got off to a bit of a slow start. They had a decent lead early in the game, 20-odd points, I think. And yeah, we just slowly worked our way into it. And yeah, we had 14 listed AFL players play with Ollie Hanrahan leading the way with 35 disposals. Our young boy, John Newcomb, had 22 with 5 tackles. So he's progressing well still. Don't need to go through all of them. I think the highlights there were Josh Morris, 17 disposals, but he had 9 marks, 8 intercept marks playing in the back line. So that's a huge game for him, and that's the new role that he's been playing probably under Sammy's guidance. So could be another master stroke there from Sammy. Jackson Callow had 8 marks up forward, 4 contested, which is solid with 2 goals. Harry Pepper, 14 disposals, 9 marks. So if he's got 9 marks, the small little guy, he must be racking up some Ks and getting into some space. So Emerson Jecker, only 9 disposals, but he had 4 marks and 4 goals. So pretty good performance there.
Yep, brilliant. It's a good question here.
We flew home in that last quarter. I think we won by, was it about 60-odd points? Sorry, I don't know the exact number, but yeah, good win by the boys.
It was a slow start. I was a little bit worried, but yeah, it came roaring home, and I think that's the game style. And we're seeing, having watched a bit more of Box Hill, just the different game style under Sam. I think there's a couple of game plans they do execute, but they do have that attacking game that we don't always see at the AFL level. So, interesting when they're getting drilled at that level to potentially be groomed, ready to come through. But Brooks asking, Callow for Punky, maybe.
Well, Cozzy's got to come back in. He was managed.
With the big boys there, be more inclined to go smaller to mid. But in saying that, who do you pick?
Hanrahan.
Hanrahan's probably the one to go from a midfield role at Box Hill back to a forward role. I don't know if that's what they'll do, but
I don't know. Yeah.
He could be suffering from the Connor Nash school of being played out of position in the seniors. But I like it from Ben. Seamus Mitchell's a good option. But if Cozzy comes back, we'll touch on Collingwood in a sec. But their tall back line isn't in fantastic shape, and I feel like the advantage that we've got will be in the air up forward. I don't know whether we swing Timmy O forward and let Cozzy have a second week off, but I feel like Louis and Cozzy in particular will be able to take the Pies to tasks, as Darcy Moore's not there, who traditionally plays pretty well against us when he's down back. So I'm pretty comfortable with Jacob Kazitsky lining up on a Jack Madgen, for example, and being rested. I think Cozzy will have a fair bit to prove in the last 3 weeks with himself to finish off a good year. But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Seamus Mitchell in if we want to go small.
So just on Seamus Mitchell, Sammy's comment was he needs to learn the physicality and the work rate required to play at the level. So if that's his comment based on the game, I'm thinking he's not likely to get a look in just yet. Although he did comment about his class when he's got the ball in hand. So he's obviously going to be a quality player, but he's got a little bit more work to do yet. Well,
we're going to have to see some players really standing up, putting their hand up, because there is a new incoming coach. So it's interesting times. But Paul, this would be a nice in if it were possible, but I don't think it is. He's not a contracted player, but he's 4, 5, 6 goals a game in recent
5
times.
on the weekend.
Yeah, so no, but just in recent weeks, he's been the leading goal kicker most weeks, if not right up there. So. Probably. I think earlier in the show, one of the fans commented maybe is who at Box Hill might be that AFL level, and I think he would be definitely one to watch. So
he was playing at Box with Western Bulldogs, so
yep,
he knows what it takes to get there. So he's given himself every chance to have a second lifeline.
Yep. Well, look, and so just before we move on from Box Hill, leave the coaching question there, and we've fan loved and much loved Talking Hawks guest Gary Ayres, legend, finishes up with Port Melbourne as a coach. There was a succession plan in motion discussed for quite a while, so that's happening. Rhys, what do you think? Box Hill, let's just
love it. Love having Ayresy in, or Andy Collins maybe, who's already at the club. Would be a good fit. Both those guys have outstanding VFL experience. I find it hard to believe that we'd go with inexperienced Sam in the senior role and an inexperienced coach at Box Hill. I think we'd want a senior member for especially the development of the youth, such as the Seamus Mitchells, the Jack Saunders, who I think's a player at Box Hill who might need a little bit more of our attention over the coming weeks. I really like him. Harry Pepper, these guys that Chris was mentioning before. I think someone that's got a background in development, and Ayresy and Andy Collins are the two standouts for mine.
Brilliant.
Was Andy Otten's mentioned as a possibility maybe as well?
Yeah, got experience with the club, and a ripping bloke too, apparently. A lot of the Box Hill guys appreciating Andy's work as well. So, I don't think Hawthorn fans would be too disappointed with any of those three boys, for sure.
Yep. You think they'd have to be in discussions working out who's going to be coach?
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to leave it too much longer, seeing they know Sam's already out, so...
For sure. Well, from the top down, the club is reorienting right now. To get behind Sam, questions like this will be asked. I'm not confident, to be honest, Ben, but I don't know that the relationship Sam has. He was obviously coached by Bolton as an assistant in premiership years, and they might have a very close bond and be able to. It's about the complementary skill sets. What does Sam need around him to get the best out of a group of coaches at the top level, and now influencing down into that VFL team. So I tend to agree with your point there, Rhys. I think there will be someone probably more seniority, and Colo coming out of Williamstown might be a chance after many, many years. But he might have just worked nicely alongside Sam, and hand in glove, they might just be able to work at that AFL level. And Colo's been across the VFLW, VFL team and supporting at that AFL level. So, I think we'll see a few role changes, and sit tight, fans. Don't stress with this one. I think it's in good hands. Sam's very well regarded for his footy head, and he's got enough smart people around him to navigate it.
Yep,
so, there we go. Maybe, Paul. Give him the reins again of a list. So, geez, Brooke, don't let the cat out of the bag too early.
Oh boy.
All right.
I think Ruffy would have the runs on the board first, wouldn't he?
Maybe.
Couple of years at Saints and just drag him back home.
He's got some good forwards to work with.
Lado might let us know if he's still with us. Anyway, so Peter Crimmins coming up, end of the year. COVID obviously is a factor here, but we would love to go. Please let us know if you want to join us, the Talking Hawks team on a table. We'd love to get some more support into the club and some funds in. It's a good night of allowing the players and their partners to enjoy the season that was, and it's been a big one for many different reasons. But that's part of what Talking Hawks is about. We want to align and support the club and the players. So on talkinghawks.com, just there's a contact us at the bottom. Just put your details in. Put PCM in the comments, and your details will be in touch. We will see if we can organise that for Chris. If you got it there, maybe $2.49 per seat, 10 to 12 people on a table. There's 4 of us going with Brad, the 3 of us, and we're looking for up to 8 more to join us. 2nd of October, 6:30 Saturday at Palladium Crown. So. Let us know quickly so we can book that. And one other thing.
We might be limited capacity. I'm not sure what capacity we'll be at. So, we do want to try and book that ASAP. So let us know if you want to join us.
Yep. And as far as supporting the club, Talking Hawks, very humbled and glad to be part of a special group, supporting Denver Granger Barras with the funds that you've helped contribute. And John Newcomb, we've got the likes of this, to be able to come out to some of our special fans that have joined with us, Talking Hawks, to help us sponsor a player. So some of the other things that we've had that were offered to sponsors in the sponsor packages this year, we'll be letting you know. Probably a bit more of that might be converted to things like merchandise and the like. It's a bit easier because we don't know with events. Sadly, we couldn't get to have a few more of those this year and offer that up to some of our supporters. So the sponsors. So thank you for all of your help and support. All right, big questions. So we've covered injuries. What do we got?
Upcoming game.
Upcoming, yeah. So Hawks, Collingwood.
Sunday down at Tassie, 2:10. I guess we've got our outs with Brewsty out. So don't know if we'll see too much movement from a winning team as far as the list goes. But and I'm not up to date with Collingwood's list. Did someone do a long-term injury recently? Collingwood?
I'll dig that up. But
we've got out for a while. But from their game last week, I don't think they had anything too significant. But they were dominant against a really disappointing West Coast side. But I think I don't want to give too much away because the outstanding preview will be coming later on in the week. But a couple of things that I think the fans should be aware of. Collingwood had 7 players take double-digit marks against West Coast. And every single player that had above 15 disposals had above 70% disposal efficiency, and that's never happened in the AFL before since those statistics have been put in place. So Collingwood are playing an uncontested style game circa the Hawks during their three-peat. But the amount of pressure that we brought to Brisbane, we were even in contested ball and smacked them in tackles and smacked them in inside 50. So as silly as it sounds, a similar performance will bring a similar result, and it'll be closer to what it was at 3/4 time rather than full time. Because it's fair to say that the palms were sweaty when Brisbane were coming back, but I don't think Collingwood have got the manpower, even though they put 90 on the Eagles last week.
All right. Pie's injuries includes for a test Josh Dacos and Ash Johnson, both with finger injuries. So possible ins as of 7 hours ago on AFL.com. So makes it interesting. One brief one, because while this question's here, Rhys, you had a quick update on this, and we'll come back to that Hawks Collingwood. Yes,
yeah.
Glenn.
So 8 or 9 days ago, Hawthorn launched their bid for an AFLW side. We're expected to hear back fully before the grand final, which will be amazing news for the Hawks. We wish it was a bit earlier because we had 3 girls from the VFLW team get drafted, which is massive for the club. And Hawthorn have been one of the best VFLW conversion to the AFLW draft. So clearly the Hawks have got a really good talent pool there, which is no surprise considering how good we've been over the years with the boys. So it was fantastic to see Ashanti Bush was pick 8 to Gold Coast. Keely Shirar was pick 11 to Carlton. I hope I've pronounced that right. And Eloise Chaston pick 32 to Collingwood. Hopefully the next crop of girls will be able to pull on the brown and gold. And I look forward to talking about them as well as the boys in 2022. And fingers crossed the AFL get it right and give us our own team.
Yep, and some good news coming out of the club today with a memo of understanding struck between Kingston, the council where the Dingley location is, in support of $5 million towards the women's football through the region, and obviously with the community focus with the council. So that southeast region of Victoria are very exciting from a football standpoint, and the Hawks in what would be potentially really a once-in-a-lifetime type of club infrastructure move that would set us apart from the rest of the competition, a la some of these European soccer clubs. So, yeah, very exciting for things to come there. But back to Collingwood v Hawthorn at UTAS 2:10 Sunday. Thoughts from the fans, big questions on what you want to see, matchups. But Chris, what are your thoughts? Let's go to,
some of the guys beat it to the punch to put their margins in, which is great. So throw your margin if you haven't done that. I just got this sneaky feeling in my gut that we're going to lose. I don't know why.
Oh, come on.
I know it's wrong, but after last week's performance, we should be winning this. But we said the same thing the other week in a game that we shouldn't lose, and we did.
Represent, Chris. Represent.
So, anyway, I'll go the positive flip on it and go Hawks by 14.
Oh, and with an enthusiasm that's just lightening up my day, mate. That's unbelievable.
That's a bigger flipper than Warney would used to deliver.
Anyway,
Come on,
here's some other margins. So
for mine, I think
positive margins.
Yeah, look, if you can bring 3/4 of that game against the Lions, backing up tenacity and attack on the body with the tackles and what. There was a stat around. I think Fags mentioned it. 80%.
I'm not alone.
You're on notice, Cody. Goodness me.
I think.
That's the thing. Actually, I'll bring this up now. And again, I'm not going to spend the next half an hour talking about the draft. But there is a real argument to be made, even if we finish 14th. That a guy like a Finn Callaghan, who I've written about before, is still at our pick. Gold Coast have got enough midfielders. GWS have Collingwood's first pick. Fair to say they've got too many midfielders as well. And at the end of 2006, we're in a very similar position to this. We won our last 4 games and it springboarded us. There's no downside to us winning right now, I don't think. So I've seen a lot of fans say lose and get the draft pick perhaps with a laugh. No, it's I don't understand that. Let's get the win, send Clarko out with style, and we're still going to get a high draft pick no matter what. So
there you go. Thanks for answering that one for us, Rhys.
Yep.
Yeah, and look, for mine, even I want to see Burgoyne in even if he's got to be the best medical. In injury emergency. Sorry, what's the term? I've forgotten all of a sudden. Medical sub. It is medical sub. Sorry for swapping seasons, swapping time zones. I think he should be one of the best sort of utilities, ready to roll. Get him there, get him to 250 for the brown and gold, and I don't think win, lose or draw. I think that's a worthwhile thing that we can hang our hat on as a football club in a day where loyalty probably has gone by the wayside in a big way. But I think back to Fags mentioned that we stuck something like 80% of our tackles, and that was just unheard of at an AFL level. So I want to see more of that, and how much of it, how consistently we can do it, I don't know. We've shown we can do it though. So that mindset was a really big thing, and I think we need to really tackle it. So Cody's in Clarko's corner this week to get us a win.
Cody's off the hook now, so welcome back to the inner sanctum.
So we've got the flipper and the backpedaler. All right, good stuff. But look, I would love to say with Brewsty out, just that I don't know that we were looking to clunk a whole lot of marks as the big forwards. It was almost like the default, just get it down. Let's just make it happen. And there was a real cavalier approach. Just have a crack, play on where you can, have a shot at goals, back yourself in. And whether that was inspired by the Clarko and the big week that was, I don't know. But I liked it, the attacking style. We haven't seen enough of that, and I'd love to see that in this game. And I think we can get up. I'm going to give us 23 points to get up over the Pies in front of a sold-out crowd already. So the Taswegians rock up in force, which is great.
Yeah, and fingers crossed it's Hawthorn fans, because when we played Essendon down in Tassie, there looked to be a lot of red and black down there. So brown and gold will keep the Ferals of Collingwood out. Fingers crossed. On
that note, I did hear it was sold out, and I'm anticipating there's going to be a big army down there in black and white. So we're going to need to be our best to silence the crowd.
Well, Tasmania, if you potentially want to have a conversation with one Alistair Clarkson to potentially coach your club in the future, get down there with your brown and gold on, will you? For crying out loud.
Or Rhys, we just keep Collingwood down there. That's also an option.
Oh, yeah, I'm fine with that.
It's an option I'm a fan of.
All right, Rhys, your thoughts on the margin, and we will look to wrap it up shortly.
Yeah, won't go massive call. Hawks by 5 goals for mine. I really liked how accurately we kicked on the weekend as well. 14-8, created really good shots. And in the air, I think we were fantastic. And I'm really looking forward to seeing Ned Reeves go up against Brodie Grundy. He took Oscar McInerney to the cleaners, but this is a top 3 ruckman in the competition we're talking about now with Brodie Grundy. So the big Reaver won't get a better test than this. And between us 3 and our magnificent listeners, I think he's going to apply himself really well. So good luck to the big fella.
I reckon we might see a bit more of Big Boy going head-to-head with him, just for the mobility around the ground. As we know, it's not his biggest asset, Big Ned, his mobility. So, yeah, be interesting to see how the matchups work.
Yep. He does like to go forward, Grundy. So maybe McAvoy's apprenticeship at centre-half back a couple of years ago might hold him in good stead. So, I agree with you, Chris. It's going to be an intriguing way, the way we look at it, but he doesn't like tapping to his midfield, Big Brodie. He likes tapping it to himself. So that could be an interesting way to look at it. You've got Taylor Adams and still side bottom at your feet, and you're backing yourself in. That's pretty arrogant for a ruckman, but alas, we'll move on.
But we have a 211 centimetre tackling. We've got that big tackling machine in the middle there. So if he wants to tap it at his feet, just look out. Get crunched by the Reaver.
That's it.
So, all right, Hawks fans. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. It's brought to you by Base Compression. They're supporters of Talking Hawks. If you want a 20% discount on any of their great compression wear gear for sports and streetwear, you can get that via talkinghawks.com. If you go to our partners page, click the link, buy away, presents, Christmas, get in now. A little bit of that will come along with Talking Hawks to help us keep producing good content. But on YouTube, We're trying to get up to 450 subscribers. If you're not subscribed, we know some of you are not, that join us. Please jump on. And we want to get it to 450 and we will drop our interview with Josh Gibson, which was a cracker. So thanks for joining us. Rhys, Chris, you're legends. Fans, you're even bigger legends. Stick by the club and get along to Collingwood Hawthorn this week, or get behind a TV screen and KO and shout away like we will. Have a good week, everyone. Good night, boys. Thank you.
Catch
Catch you later.